Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing this super fun, colorful, sparkly, glittery, rhinestones, glowy, all the things makeup look inspired by Euphoria. If you guys didn't know, I am a general manager at Ulta Beauty, so we have events, and today we have a half magic / Euphoria event, and I just had to channel my inner Euphoria. I just finished the final episode, and no spoilers, but it was so good. But this is a look that we are going to be creating, and you can just use honestly whatever you have. I didn't necessarily use half magic products, but I am going to buy some today. So let's jump into it. So we are starting with brows and skincare. So we're going to do our eyes first, and I do have a photo reference that I think that I'm going to try and attempt as far as the eyes. So I like how this has the purple and the blue and then just a ton of glitter and the rhinestones. I think that is going to be beautiful. So we're just going to wing it. This is just going to be an inspo. I first want to blank out any discoloration I have on my eyelids. So instead of using my About Face primer, I'm going to go in with my good classic soft ochre paint pot by MAC, and I'm going to apply that all the way up to the brow. I feel like my skin is so glowy today, but the only thing different that I did was before bed I used the Anua, the PDRN glow pads. I'm really bad about using like the extra products like that, and when I do I'm like, damn, these are good products, and I'm a huge fan of Anua. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to set that entire base with my Just Face powder. This is the Charlotte Tilbury one. Because the shadows in the photo are more pastel and not necessarily bright, I don't want them to really cling to this primer, so putting this on there is just going to help sheer them out a little bit. For the eyeshadow, we're going to go in with the Blend Bunny Cosmetics Ellis Brooklynn palette. I feel like I bought this like a year ago and I haven't even used it, so wait till you see this beautiful thing. Absolutely stunning. Pretty much every color that you would ever need. I want to use it on my face today. Because the palette is so large, I'm just going to tell you what shades I'm using, and then if you are interested in the palette, you can just look up the shades. I think I'm going to start with my crease color first. This is the shade Illusion, and a fluffy brush that is a little bit more densely packed because I want this to be directly in the crease area for now, and then we'll blend it out. So I'm just working that in, and it's blending already very easily because we set that base. So I started applying like this, and now I'm flipping my brush on the side to where it's a little bit more long ways, and I'm going to start fading that upwards. I'm going to go in with a little bit more, re-intensify directly in that crease, get it placed how I want it. I'm taking it all the way to this inner corner and then flipping that brush and blending it up sideways. It almost looks like in the picture this like lavender shade has a little bit of a pale pink on the edges, so I want to leave enough room for that. Putting that on the outer corner. Now with the shade Sensory, I'm going in with a bigger fluffy brush, but this one I just know has less bristles than my other brushes, so it's not going to put on as much product, and I'm barely touching the skin, and I'm going along the edges to add that pink hue. And I'm going to use this to really extend it up towards the brow and that outer like temple area. I'm also going to take it under the front of the brow. I'm mixing the shades Presence and Eternal. One is purple, one is blue, and with the Sigma E36 brush, I'm going to put this directly into the crease. So I'm looking down so I can get up in there. It's kind of hard to tell in the picture if it's blue or purple, so we're just going to mix. And I have very little on here because I want to get the shade right before I put more on there. So I'm putting that directly into the socket, starting on the inner part because it seems to be most pigmented here, and then we're going to bring it towards the outer crease. Now I'm doing that again, but I'm getting a little bit more Presence, which is the purple, and we're going to build it up. I'm just doing back and forth motions just to kind of keep it in like this line formation, and then now we're going to diffuse it. And now you can be a little bit messy as long as you have wiped that brush off because we're not going to be moving product, we're just going to be blending. With the shade Prestige, which is just that purple, I'm going to pack that on the outer corner using a smaller fluffy brush, and then I'm going to slightly bring it into like where the center of the lid is. This brush fits like right in my outer corner, so it's perfect for this. And then I'm going to slightly diffuse that into those crease colors. And now with a deeper purple, this is Atlantis, and a smaller brush, I'm going to put this on the very outer corner. So again, very lightly even lifting my brush, and I'm just working it into this very like outer V. But I'm going to do like an outer U because it's going to be more rounded than sharp. I'm just starting out with a little bit, packing it. I feel like I lost some of that crease color because the other shades ended up being so much more dark. So I'm going back in with the shade Illusion and just re-intensifying that crease. And then wiping off my brush and blending. I know once I put rhinestones and stuff up there, I just want to make sure that there's still some color peeking through. I'm going to go in with this shimmer from the palette. It's called Deity. It's got like the blue, I don't know if it's going to pick up. It's got like the purple, blue, pinky hue. It's the very like Euphoria type color, and we're going to pack that basically everywhere we did not put shadow. I'm obviously doing a lot of this. The thing about Euphoria looks is the glitter is not just on the lid. So we're going to get it all over the lid, and then I'm going to take my finger and take it up to the crease. Packing it on there pretty heavily. Make sure to get all the way to this inner corner and then start to bring it up into the crease. Sorry, I'm flipping you off. Honestly, this shade looks like the new glitter puck that is in the Euphoria collection that I think I'm going to buy today because it's beautiful. I think just for fun, this is the shade Transcend, which has more pink to it. I'm going to put this on the center of the lid. I don't know if this is going to pick it up on here either with the lower exposure, but it's pretty. I removed my fallout and I'm going to go in with my Tatcha serum stick just to rehydrate the under eye, and then I'll just slightly blend that in with my finger. We're going to keep the skin pretty light coverage because I feel like with Euphoria their skin is never like super full coverage flawless. Like you can still see a lot of discoloration redness. So we're going to go in with one of my favorite products. This is the Do It All Balm from IT Cosmetics in the shade Fair Warm, which is a little bit deeper than the one I usually wear, but I have been outside a little bit, so we'll just blend it down the neck. So I'm going to start on the outer part of the face, and then we're going to blend in. That way I keep a lot of my like freckles and discoloration. It does match my face pretty well, but it's a little darker than my neck, so we're going to blend it down. If you follow me on TikTok, you know how much I have raved about this balm. This is hands down my favorite like complexion find over the past several months. And then just with very little, we're going to go over the nose again just to kind of get rid of a little bit of redness, but that's about all that we're aiming for with this. I get a lot of questions about the longevity of this balm. Honestly, for me, it lasts all day. Now, I do not touch my face. I think that's a huge saying of people saying their makeup doesn't last. If you are a face toucher, you have to wear waterproof, transfer proof makeup. It's just, that's the way it is because you're touching your face, versus if you just learn to not do that, I promise you more makeup will last on your skin. So I think I feel good about that. Now, if there's anywhere that I want a little bit more coverage, I've been going in with this Merit Minimalist. I really like this, and I'm just going to use this to kind of spot conceal. I've been using this on a lot of like no makeup days. There's a girl that I follow on TikTok because I have gotten into running, and she always wears this before her runs, so it made me want to get it, and it's really nice, but it's not as like heavy as a concealer. It's a very interesting product. I'm just putting that on and then just blending it in with the sponge. I'm using the same side of the sponge that I used for the balm, that way they kind of mix together. And then for the concealer, I'm going in with the Milk Hydro Grip in the shade 3. Again, very little, and then just blend with the sponge. Again, I don't need this to be super perfected, so I'm not worried about using a lot. Plus, we're gonna have so much shadow down there that it's really not gonna matter. For bronzer, I'm gonna go in with my Rare Beauty in the shade Gentle. This is the liquid contour. I might end up going in with a warmer like powder bronzer just where these eyes are so like cool toned, but we'll see. I'm just doing my usual placement. I'm just doing a little bit more than usual because I want to be bronzed, and then I'm just going to blend that in. You guys asked me about this brush. It is so old. It is by BH Cosmetics. They don't make it anymore. I don't even think BH Cosmetics exist, but it's honestly just the perfect bronzer brush to me, and I just have no need to use something different. If you really want an alternative, I can start looking, but I'm just pressing that in, really working this into like the back temple area, and then across the nose, getting up into my under eye as I always do, and then blending the hairline. And then always I'll take my sponge just to mend the bronzer and the foundation products together. So my skin literally looks like, obviously very glowy, but it really doesn't look like there's like product on there, and that's what I'm going for. For blush, I'm going to go in with this Anastasia Trio, the Magic Touch Blush Trio in pink, and I'm taking the shade Candy Pink, and we're going to put this on the back of the cheeks because that is where I like the placement for my face, and then work it inwards. I don't want to go too crazy with the blush because I'm not a pink blush fan regardless, and I don't know, I just don't like a lot of blush on me. A lot of bright blush on me, let me clarify. So like that. So I kind of just like mixed it with that bronzer and brought it up to the temple, and then with that sponge I'm just diffusing the edges. I'm going to finish off the eyes so I can then finish off the face. So I'm going in with that Charlotte Tilbury powder again. I'm going to lightly set the under eyes just so these shadows can blend easier on top, and here is where we're going to just smoke it out. So I'm taking that shade Illusion, I'm taking it all the way across, and I want to make sure to connect it on this outer corner so it really wraps around the eye, and we want this to be low. This is a staple piece, and plus we're going to put glitter down there too, so you need to have the eyeshadow low enough to where once you put the glitter you still see some eyeshadow peeking through. Will it look like a black eye slightly? Yes, but then we're going to put glitter on it and then it'll look like a glittery black eye. So loop it on this outer corner. Now with the pencil brush, I'm taking that purple and blue mixture, and this is going to be a little bit closer up to the lash line, and I'm going to take it about 3/4 of the way in, and then I'm going to press to wrap around the outer corner. And now with that last brush with no product on there, we're going to diffuse it out. And now with a small brush and Atlantis, which was that dark purple that we used, we're going to really pack on that outer corner. I'm going to pack it on here and make sure it loops down to this outer corner, and then pack on this lower lash line outer corner. And now with that pencil brush that we used for the last shade and I wiped it off, we're going to lightly diffuse those edges. And again, just smoke it out even further. Now we are going to throw on our glitter. So the same glitters we used on top, this is the shade Defy. I'm putting it on this whole area right here. Putting it all the way up in there. Almost like where like your natural under eye bag is. And then with the pink, I'm going to do the same thing of putting it right in the middle. This is the shade Transcend. And then I'm going to take the shade Ethereal, which is kind of just like a silver. We're going to put that on the inner corner. I'm just really blowing it out. Once I put lashes and rhinestones on, this will be so good. Okay, here's what the eyes are looking like right now. I am going to go in and do the rhinestones, but my camera is wanting to overheat, so I'm just going to pop off camera and do that. Again, here is my photo reference. So she's got rhinestone here, almost in like a wing shape here, and she's got a few there, and then the one on the inner part of the brow. I'm going to do something similar to that, and I'm just using these little rhinestones I got off Amazon forever ago and my Duo lash glue. So I'm just going to dot where I want it, put the rhinestone on there, and let it dry. So I'm going to do that, pop on mascara, lashes, and come back. Lashes are on, and I told you this look would eat once lashes were on. So I also applied the LA Girl Shockwave Neon Eyeliner in the shade Vivid to my waterline, and I applied some faux freckles and bottom lash mascara. So let's do lips. Actually, before we do lips, I'm going to take my Morphe brow gel and run it through the brows. I'm also not going to do anything else with the skin because I feel pretty good about it. I like how it's like glowy, and I don't know, it just suits the vibe. I'm going to be quite boring with the lips. This is the Sephora Collection Transfer Proof Lip Liner in the shade Soft Suede. I discovered this a couple days ago, and I think this is like my perfect lip liner shade, like my lips but better. So I'm going to apply this really quick and I'll show you what it looks like. Is that not like the most perfect lip liner shade? Honestly, just want to leave it like that. I think everything is so glowy and intense and glittery that I think just like the matte, natural looking lip color is enough. And here is the look completed. I was going to go in with like the chunky glitter, but I don't have time. I do have to go to work. So here is everything. This is so fun. I miss fun makeup, and this Euphoria Half Magic collection obviously just screams fun makeup. So I hope you guys enjoyed something a little bit more colorful, a little bit more fun. And as always, just because you're in your 30s doesn't mean you can't wear fun things. So I will see you in my next one.